post-game show. Our view from the dugout, I'm Adam Wexler. This is Art Howe, and of course we're coming to you from our Click to Houston Digital Center. Game one is in the books. The ALDS has begun, and the Astros are up 1-0. They win it today, 7-2. The one thing that stood out to you in today's game one, what's that?
Difference in the bullpens. Astros bullpen came in lights out, did a great job. On the other hand, the Indians bullpen gave up a few, that's for sure. And, you know, that's a big difference for me. You know, if it's a close game, that bullpen's going to shut down the other club. You're going to win ball games.
So like I said, we're up on our click2houston.com website. We're up on Facebook Live as well at KPRC2. I'm going to be following along with that, try to work some of your comments in. Obviously, we've got a lot of interacting to do. Twitter as well, if you hashtag AskArtHowe or AskWex, we'll get it all into the program. The beginning of the game, we did a couple of videos during the game talking about the starting pitching. Through 3 innings, both were twirling brilliantly. Neither team had a hit. Kluber absolutely hit a wall. You had said already you didn't think he had his best stuff going.
No, I didn't think so. He struggled with his command, hit 2 hitters early in the ball game, which is uncharacteristic of him. I think he hit 2 hitters all year long, and he hit 2 in that one, or 3 in all year long, hit 2 in that 1 inning, but wriggled off the hook, got a big double play ball. But it was pretty obvious he wasn't real sharp. And then the difference also was the Astros were putting the ball in play off him, whereas Verlander was striking just about everybody out, it seemed like, when he needed one. Reached back for a little extras, throwing the ball 97, 98 mile an hour, had a nice hook curveball going and a slider to boot. He hit the wall after the 5th inning. He had the no-hitter going. As soon as that base hit, Gomes got the base hit, things started to unravel for him a little bit.
We were talking to Alex Bregman yesterday, and one thing I had asked him, because he'd mentioned how many different guys seem to relish this stage and this moment, and I asked him if that kind of, to him, did it set this team apart, their clubhouse apart, because so many guys feel that way. And even in today's game, it sure felt like up and down the lineup. Tyler White's got 2 hits, the guys they use in the bullpen, Maldonado hits a homer. Whoever's at the plate, whoever's on the mound, they feel ready for these moments.
Definitely, and they have power, as you mentioned, from top to bottom in the order. There's no easy touches. You have to make perfect pitches or really hit the corners consistently to keep these guys in the ballpark. Because if you make mistakes, they don't miss them, as you saw today. Bregman finally got a pitch to hit it out of the ballpark, and then, you know, they just start adding on, and, you know, that's another key to a good, solid ball club. Once they get a few runs on the board, they don't stop. They keep adding on, put you away. And as you mentioned before, you know, this is something players relish their whole life. I mean, a little kid, you dream about playing in the postseason. These guys are there in the postseason. They're making the most of it.
So it's only been 2 postseasons for Alex Bregman. Today's homer was his 5th career postseason homer. He's hit 2 off Chris Sale, 1 off Clayton Kershaw, 1 off Kenley Jansen, and now today off Corey Kluber.
That's Paul Cotton.
That's unbelievable. And Springer now has homers in 5 consecutive games. He hit homers in his last 28 at-bats. He hit 6 postseason homers when you take it back to what he was doing in the World Series.
As you said, they love the postseason.
Unbelievable.
They answer the bell, they go to the plate ready to, and they have the confidence. You can see that they have confidence in themselves. They know what they can do. And as I said, if you make a mistake to anybody up and down this order, they're going to make you pay. And today they did a great job of it when they they hit 4 home runs today. And that's the difference in these 2 clubs too, the power. Yeah, the Astros have power up and down that lineup, whereas I don't think the Clevelands can match that.
So a couple of things we'll try to do here in our post-game shows is try to get your involvement here. Emojis, very popular. I'm going to ask you guys to participate here with us. You fire off what you think the best emoji fit is for it. There are a couple of decisions to make, and we were curious what A.J. Hinch was going to do. That 6th inning where it seemed like things were unraveling for Justin Verlander. Gives up the first hit, kind of gets away with one against Kipnis. The bases are loaded, and A.J. Hinch comes out. Weren't 100% sure if he was pulling him or leaving him in there. You got a thumbs up or a thumbs down on that decision?
I got a thumbs up because Justin had thrown a lot of pitches in that inning. It was pretty obvious he was struggling with his command all of a sudden. Each of those hitters made him throw an awful lot of pitches. So he was kind of on empty, 102 pitches after 5 in the 3rd innings. He had done his job, left the game with a shutout.
Yeah,
basically.
he did.
Still bases loaded, but you know, Presley come in and overthrew the first breaking ball he threw, buried it almost at the hitter's feet. For a wild pitch, a run scored. Then he got a weak ground ball out, who scored another run. But I like the fact that AJ went to his setup man right then and there. The game was on the line. They had the lead. You want to get your starter the win if at all possible. So he brought in one of his better relievers, got out of the jam after the 2 runs were scored, and in the next inning, Presley just sailed through the lineup, showed you why he's their setup guy. But I thought AJ did a great job of handling the pitching staff. I thought maybe he might let McCullers come back.
That was the other thing I was going to ask.
But at the same time, it was nice to get Osuna's feet wet. As a manager, you want to get these guys in situations where maybe there's not a whole lot of pressure on them, just to get them acclimated to pitching in the postseason. Did a great job of getting Osuna in there, got the job done. His
15th postseason appearance for Osuna, both of his 2 seasons in Toronto when he pitched in the postseason. One of those 2 seasons scoreless for the entire postseason. The other time he just gave up 2 runs over those 7 appearances. So he does have some pretty good postseason history. And kind of as you look forward, he's able to get Osuna in the game. And you already know, should this series go the full 5, there's the day off on Sunday. There's the potential second day off after Game 4 before Game 5. You really are in a pretty good position for however you want to utilize these guys, aren't you?
Oh, definitely. I mean, I think each and every one of these guys are available tomorrow. And you know, and they're 3 of your better pitchers that are coming out of the bullpen. But you still have Harris totally fresh. You have Sip, he's totally fresh. So you have some arms down there that are still real strong, ready to go. McHugh, he's pitched
I
great
feel like
all
we
year.
kind of all want to just see Josh James throw 100 miles an hour for this team in the postseason.
I guarantee you, we're going to see him at some point.
This is, obviously, again, if you're just joining us, Astros get the 7-2 win over the Indians in the American League Division Series Game 1. Game 2 tomorrow, a little bit later afternoon start, 3:30 in the afternoon with Garrett Cole on the mound against Carlos Carrasco. And I'd mentioned this in the pregame show. Kluber was fantastic against the Astros in 2 appearances this year. He clearly was not today. The Astros had hit just about everybody else, especially their bullpen, extremely well. They scored 2 runs off Kluber, and then in the other, they scored 43 runs off of the rest of the staff in those 7 games. It's Carrasco against Cole tomorrow. What do you see from those 2?
Good matchups. They both have great arms, obviously, or they wouldn't be number 2 in their staffs. But going back to Kluber, the Astros have had some success against him in the postseason. I think they roughed him up at least once last year in Cleveland. So I'm sure they weren't overwhelmed with the fact that they were facing him. But at the same time, Carrasco's got real good stuff. They're going to have to be patient at the plate. Once again, try to work the counts, get him into hitters' counts, and do some damage.
The Astros kind of got it all going, and I think if we had polled our viewers and even the 2 of us, which Astro energizes the team the most today or gets the first big hit, you'd almost have to say Bregman, and it played out that way.
It did. I mean, this kid's had a tremendous season for the Astros. Really has come into his own. I think people realize now how good this young man is, especially at the plate. He's on top of the plate. He's got a short stroke. He has no real weaknesses up and down that strike zone, so you have to really make quality pitches to get him out.
And he gets it going there. They have the back-to-back homers. I think, to me, that's a really good sign for Jose Altuve. We're so much focused on Correa not having a strong post-All-Star portion of his season. Jose Altuve hitting .316 is so far down for Jose Altuve. I don't know if I'm ready to say struggled, but he did. And he hadn't had a good stretch of playing well. And he, too, not a huge injury issue with him, but he needed a good chunk of time off in the second part of the season. But that ball he hit out and the swing he put on that, no question about it, how well he hit that one and barreled it up, I think that's a very good sign for him.
It certainly is. That was a line drive home run. And Jose, he missed some times late in the season, again, with his knee problem. And you don't know how much that's affecting him even at this point. But as soon as he came back in the lineup, you realize that's when they went off again.
Yep.
He's a catalyst to this club. As good as Bregman is, for me, Altuve makes his team go.
And are you okay if people disagree with that when they say, no, it's Springer, no, it's Bregman, and then you just realize, I mean, it feels like so many different guys can put juice out there for them.
Yeah, they can up and down the lineup, but with Jose in the lineup, I think it just makes everybody else more relaxed. They just do their job. With him out of the lineup, I think everybody that week to 10 days when he was out of the lineup, everybody was trying to do too much. he settles the whole lineup down because they know Jose's in the middle of the order. He's going to do damage.
You think these guys kind of felt like once we get there, get to the postseason, things are going to fall into place? I mean, I know they won 103 games. They're a very confident team. Struggled a little bit at home. Today's game one looked a lot like the 2017 Astros at home.
Well, as I've said, when the season started, I thought they were a better team than they were a year ago. And I think we're going to find that out during this postseason.
So if you said they were a better team before the year started, they'd added Garrett Cole at the time and made a couple of changes.
Yeah.
Since then, they've added Presley, Osuna, Maldonado. How much better are they now?
Well,
Did the Indians just find out?
I just said on paper they're the best team in the postseason, so hopefully they play up to the press clipping, so to speak.
And something you said during our pregame show as well, you felt like the team that emerges from this division series, 4 division series going on, 2 in the NL, 2 here in the AL, but this division series winner is who you think wins the World Series.
They're going to the World Series.
What does winning game 1 do for both teams? How do the Indians feel about where they sit heading into game 2, and similarly for the Astros?
Well, for the Astros, you feel great. Yeah, I mean, this is one you want to, take care of things at home, and you have your ace on the mound. You win that ball game. You're off to a great start. You feel a lot better about the situation. On the other hand, the Indians, they lose the first game. They know tomorrow's a huge game for them. They lose that one. They're up against the wall going home. Of course, they're going home, but still, against this Astro ball club, you don't want to be down 2-0.
Yeah, the similar situation played out last year to some degree. Chris Sale pitches game 1 for the Red Sox here. The Astros send the ball over the fence a couple of times. They end up going to Boston with a 2-0 lead. Boston wins game 3. But the Astros are able to take that series again in relatively short order. It feels like to me, they're calm in whatever situation is presented, whether they ended up in that, don't want to come back to Houston in a 2-2 series. And the way that they played today, they looked awfully relaxed.
They are.
Just whenever the game comes, we'll be there. We're ready for it.
That's what's unique about finally getting to the postseason and winning everything. You know what you're capable of doing. You've been there before. It's not a shock, whatever the situation. They know the crowd's going to be crazy at times, but they can handle it all. They've done it in the past, and most of these guys have been there. They know what to do, and it's just really nice to see them get off to a great start. And the key guys in the lineup were a big part of it. So now we just got to get Correa going a little bit, and everything's going to be hunky-dory.
We know it's an 0-for-4 line for Correa. But in looking at those individual bats, the strikeout swinging early in the game did hurt, and then the double play after prevented them from getting to Kluber earlier. But he did look comfortable and looked like he had a free swing regarding his back the rest of the game.
He swung the bat aggressively today. That last time up, he had a sharp ground ball to short. I think it's just a matter of maybe one falling in for him, and then he'll be just fine. So
needs a Texas leaguer, a can of corn to drop for him somewhere.
Yeah. There was a couple of bloops that got in today. Maybe he'll get one tomorrow.
Again, it's Garrett Cole and Carlos Carrasco going in game 2. The game 3 starters are already set. Dallas Keuchel and Mike Clevenger. It'll be interesting to see if they get to a game 4. Obviously, Charlie Morton was not needed in this game. Trevor Bauer was needed in this game for the Indians, and he did not look very sharp and was roundly booed by the Astros crowd.
And that's more confidence for the Astros. One of their key starters, they roughed up in the one inning that he was out there. So, they won't mind seeing him later either.
Okay, so on that, you mentioned the word confident as we get things wrapped up here. Confident and cocky, sometimes a fine line, sometimes there really isn't. How do you think the Astros fit into that category of the right kind of confidence factor, leaning on cocky?
Yeah, I think you hit it right on the head. They're real close to being cocky, and they have a right to be because they back things up. Being cocky, it's nice to be cocky, but you got to back up the talk. And right now, they're backing up their style. They go in the dugout after hitting a home run. They have their fun. But, like I said, I wouldn't want to be pitching against this lineup. It's tough.
Yeah, and that's kind of, that's the sense you get, even with a team that, again, clearly this team was not as good offensively as they were a year ago. Clearly, so many guys had down seasons. And yet, if you knew nothing about their offense in the regular season, watch game 1 today, you'd think, oh my gosh, the same team, if not better, offensively.
It's a scary lineup, a scary ball club. I mean, nobody in the postseason wants to play them, I'll tell you that. But, from day one, and here you got Morton, 13-3 as a fifth starter.
It's pretty nice.
I mean, what's that tell you about this rotation? It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see again, however this series plays out, what lends to the need to switch up the rotation, how things fall into place further. But again, they're only one game in. Astros get a 7-2 win today. Most of what we're seeing from our comments and those of you hitting us up on Twitter, a lot of 1 down, 2 to go. Way to go, Astros. Just what I expected. I know the fans feel like they're in position where they can see a second parade happening here.
I sure hope so. It'd be nice for the fans of Houston, and you know it's been a long time coming. They made it happen last year, and let's back it up. It's time for Houston to have a dynasty. What do you think?
I mean, you know what this roster looked like. You know what the farm system looks like. I think clearly Jeff Luhnow and Jim Crane,
great job.
They feel like this is the window is open, and probably open pretty large. A lot of time for them to try to make something happen. We're going to be back here with you before tomorrow's game 2. It's a 3:30 first pitch. Should be on the air here on our click2houston.com page and Facebook Live right around 3:15, 3:20. Catch up with us on Twitter on all that stuff. Of course, right here on View from the Dugout in our Click2 Houston Digital Center. Art, really appreciate you. You feel like today was a thumbs up?
The Astros. Yep. Thumbs up.
Thumbs up for what the Astros did. Always welcome your comments and emojis via our Facebook page. Art Howe will be back with us for Game 2 tomorrow. Randy McElroy will be sitting here with you to analyze it all. I'll be out at the ballpark. Astros have a 1-game-to-none lead in the ALDS. Thanks for joining us here on click2houston.com.